Okay, so let's start it. Oh, my 10 minutes speaking. Let's do it for now. Let's do it now. Saying basically say your best. I would say that you got to be the best. Being 20% of your class good enough for you? No. If you want something, you got to get after it, and then you start producing good results, and then you build confidence along the way. This sort of chase here study techniques that I grew up by as medical students and helped me get into medicine, and I use these on a day-to-day basis. Half of them focus on the actual studies techniques and the other half focus on the studies mentality, which is just as important. Let's start with the first one. Our first unit studies from testable combinatorial hours. So let's say the box represents all the information that is presented to you, and the start in the middle, it is stable material. Someone who doesn't know how to study will go from top to bottom, covering every single detail, and when the exam comes, they haven't covered like 20 to 30% of what is testable. Whereas someone who knows how to study will start from the middle, study from the core materials, it's testable and there's the hours. And then the time exam time comes, although they haven't studied everything, they study what is important and what is testable. Not that you want to be the best student as possible, I want to be the best doctor as possible. So in studying, we have this tendency to try and to learn everything. But we have to make this massive shift from focusing on those long-term goals to short-term goals. And those short-term goals, when you're taking the courses, is to pass and get good grades in every midterms and every exam that's been presented before you. And then those long-term goals will take care of themselves. So how do you know it's accessible for you or not? The three ways, figuring that first is to look for practice test or previous test. Sometimes the lectures give you, a couple questions that they did not the lecture to go over on. Pay attention to those. And also look online in Learning Guide to figure out there any not just start lying around and ask seniors if they have taken the course, if they have any practice material. I asked my friend who also taken the course. You know, you use your resources to figure out if there are any additional study materials that you can use to have to think about in seminar. Not learner. So when you're going over to material, always mention in your mind, how can I set this in the multiple choice format? How can I set this in the more short answer format? And I try to learn that way. The material list is to write good concise notes and then plan out your timing for all your midterms and all your times. And constantly evaluate your study so that you're not falling behind. So for example, let's just say you're taking prayer courses and before midterm you have to go over 10 lectures per course and then each lecture has 50 slides. That totals up to 2500 slides that you have to go over before midterm. So you have to write a good concise note with a summarize everything and makes it manageable for you to go over materials before you write a midterm so that you're not overloaded. Let's write a good numbers possible containing keywords if important information. You know that if you don't remember something from your notes, you have the PowerPoint slide you can always go back on. The thing on list is to use active recall learning. I mean, we already recently that we can go to, but let me expand on that further here. Let me start off by giving you examples of students who don't know how to study. So when they presented with information like mitochondria is the power of a cell, what they do is without thinking, they write. Nothing is coming to the brain. So what I do when I was going to my notes is when I read the information, I write only the keywords. And then I was bored to looking at my notes. I looked at my keyword. For example, what is mitochondria? And then I try to think mitochondria is the part of powerhouse of a cell. What is why powerhouse of a cell? And I try to supplement information from the lectures. Power over hemispheres produce ATP. So I'm using all my senses. I'm writing that, which is my technical motion. I'm saying things now, which is verbal. I'm looking at my notes. Previously, I'm using my visual cues, and I'm listening to using also my LOC sensor. And most often when you actively recalling, you cannot remember all the information, and that is okay because studies have shown that just by attempting to recall, your create relative connection between information and your memory. Number four, I cannot say that this is not reading. It's just important and learning a new information. So if I have 20 lectures to go over for midterm, for example, I'm supposed to go to 1 to 20 and then go back to 1 to 20. And what I do is I go to 1 to 5 and I review 1 to 5 quickly, and then I move it on to 6 to 10, and then once I'm done 6 to 10, if more quickly I go over to 1 to 5, and then I look over 6 to 10, and then I go into 11 to 15. Obviously, you have to time to this actually for midterm, so that you actually cover everything. Number five is more of math thing. You have to study harder for your midterms than your final exams. You're gonna obviously study hard for your final exam, but you have to study harder for your midterms because that is sets up the term for the entire course. Let's say you're about mark on midterm, then the entire course just a catch-up game. You're worrying the whole time, probably 2 3 months, worrying about whether you're going to get a good enough final mark, also that you can make up for getting a bad mark on your midterms. Mistake is having a strong mindset throughout school year. I'm gonna come across here as a little harsh here, but it's saying you gotta try your best. I would say frequently you've got to be the best. Is your best really top 1% of your class? Is your best top 5% of your class? If your program you want to get into and has less than 10% acceptance rate, is being top 20% of your class good enough for you? No. If you want to speak, you got to get after it, and you start boosting good results, and then you build confidence along the way. And number 7% is putting it at work and outworking everyone, which is kind of contradictory to put here in this video because this is a technique video. But compared to someone who knows all the techniques but didn't work hard, someone who doesn't know how any of the techniques and then just putting the hours in studying and getting information into the brain is always going to beat the person with better study techniques. I wasn't right studying in my class, so that I did but worse. I just literally outworked everyone. How do you know that? I walked into a library before everyone else, and then walked out of the library after everyone else. I spent my time sitting on Friday night, Saturday night when everyone was going out partying, and it was when I'm other student was living in the library at the same time last night, and he is now a college student at UNA. UFA. I think things like that happen. You got to have to if you really want to be successful. You might be getting a sure study partner and friend who wanted to pass you. If you think it's gonna be hard to find them, well, if you start listening late nights and at the library all the time, and you tend to come across these guys. If you come home early in the morning and living late at night, coming on weekends, but in the grade I had a couple of friends who I really studied with, and they didn't really enjoy each other. But when it was time to study, we studied and we didn't enjoy each other, and when it was we would take care of, we went out and had fun. Number nine is staying consistent and staying on top of everything. Especially in medicine where there was like million things going on. If I start to lose track of things, I get super stressed. So I have to be on top of every email. I have to be on top of every, assessment and all the work I have to do. Integrate your learn with 5 courses plus your extracurriculars and everything going on. So you have to just stay on top of everything so that you can fall behind and get stressed. Let you give me an example of student C and why it is so important. You have student A and student B. Your student A is working on Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, 2 hours each. Student B just has to work on Friday but takes Saturday and Sunday off. And that student B has fallen behind by 24 hours. So no matter how hard he tries, the next on Monday studying 14 hours as opposed to 12 hours, and on Tuesday studying 16 hours, that guy is always playing catch-up game to student A, and when you're on the curve in university and in undergrad, you're just going to not be able to compete against student A. Number 10 is effectively controlling your anxiety and your worry when you're going to school. That is of the warriors. What is somebody who doesn't study and wants to worry about not studying? That solution is totally simple. You just study. Number two is the type of warrior is someone who worries despite having on the studies, and you are in that position. Then you need to write it out that you are what you're worried about. So not book on an iPad or whatever. You're worrying because you are not seeing what you are worried about. So divide a line halfway in the middle, write down what you can control, what you cannot control. And something like you can control is working out early, going to the library, and staying for X amount of hours, and and stay focused when you're studying. What you cannot control is the actual grades. And I'm going to get from this course. So I'm worried. I'm going to be I'm going to be B plus. I'm going to A plus. You cannot control that. So you focus on what you can control and just have to give up on what you cannot control. Okay, so that's the end of my speaking for 10 minutes for today. I think that's it. Very good. Oh, I have to speak slower. Okay, so I'm done with the speaking for today. It is a really good practice for me, and I think that I can do more. I can try more. I can, be a better of myself in maybe tomorrow or maybe this time. And I'm gonna do everything in my abilities. I'm gonna, break my limits. I'm gonna go over and go through my limits. I'm gonna uh, I'm gonna defeat the exhaustion, the exhaustion, to get the to get the to get the achievement that I want. So for my achievement, so for my goals, I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna do everything like study like to midnight. Actually, I did it. Like for the CBT test at school, I did it. And for those stuff that it is happening for now is coding for the CBT in the ICS and then 3U1, I think, or do the Java programs or finish code HS, do do the echoes book. Although it's really stuff, it is really hard for me, and I have to do it. I have to try it. If I don't do it, and if I just skip it, and just skip it day by day and month by month, so it's gonna be affect to my ability. Okay, so that is the end of my video today. Also, bye. Have a good day.